Ethiton, the city with no pollution. There's a lot of alarm about global warming, climate change, and so on. I'm not a particularly an alarmist, but my issue with pollution is that it's a cost onto society and future generations. Somebody, and when I say somebody, I mean a somebody is creating the pollution. Every item discarded inappropriately, every drop of oil or pollutant put into a stream, released into the air, has been put there by a decision of one person. And obviously, I don't mean the same person in every case, but every act can be traced back to a decision made by one individual. That is, if we had perfect accounting, all of these acts of pollution could be attributed to a account. To clarify that in more detail, let's assume we have an island, and on this island there are 100 people. The island is owned as a kind of cooperative, and each person has an account in the ledger of the island. So every time the individual does something, creates a cost, it's a debit on his account, and when he or she creates value, that's a credit to their account. So every act is either an act of negative value creating or positive value creating. You're either consuming or producing, adding value or subtracting value. So if you look at pollution as a negative value, throwing a cup on the side of the road has a cost attached, relevant to the cost of having someone pick it up, dispose of it properly. So this cost would be tacked onto the accounts of the one that threw out the cup. And so there wouldn't be the impetus to create pollution if a company is polluting. This is a decision made by someone in the company, and this is a cost that is attributed to them. The cost goes to the individual who is in charge of that kind of decision making. So, and in this way, the island, the community, doesn't need laws. It has an accounting procedure, and if you're creating a cost, then you pay the cost created. The pollutant, the damage, the action that is consuming value that would normally be put on society and future generation does not have to be legally specified. It doesn't have to be made illegal. It's de facto illegal. It's prima facie illegal because it's creating costs and you're not paying them. It's not the cost that's illegal. It's you're not paying for those costs that becomes the problem. And so the jurisprudence of the island is all about ascertaining the cost and attributing this cost or assigning this cost to its creator or originator. And so pollution is simply just a cost that's not been paid, and it would not be treated any differently than any other cost that was created and not paid. It taking a necklace is stealing something from someone and not paying for it. It could have been purchased and obtained, but it was taken and not paid. That's what distinguishes a theft from a transaction. And there's no difference between stealing the necklace and stealing fresh water by polluting it. It's no different from creating bedlam and chaos. You're stealing the community's peace of mind and composure. These are all costs, and they can all be given an economic value. They can all be assigned to the perpetuator, and they can all be given a means of restitution, a schedule of restitution. The restitution can be given a value, specified, the means of its payment determined, and that procedure enforced. But it doesn't take a lot of laws, and it doesn't take a lot of legal apparatus. It only takes the community to understand what costs should be attributed to what person. You just need a system of accounts and accounting. So under this rubric, we can see that what we're talking about here, debits and credits, is freeloading and accountability. When we're paying our costs, we're accountable. If we don't take anything or damage anything that we are not going to pay for, we are accountable. If we pay for all our costs, we're accountable. Our accounts are accurate, they're valid, they're up to date. If we're not doing this, then we're freeloading. If we're trying to get somebody else to pay our debts, our costs, we're freeloading. And so, again, the community only needs to know one thing: who is accountable, what has been being accounted for, and who is freeloading, what hasn't been paid for. And it's simple as this.